Hi everybody, Dan Illman, Mike Beer, Kentucky Oaks Prep at Gulfstream Park on Florida Derby Saturday. It's race number 12. It's the Gulfstream Park Oaks. The best way to bet it, DRF Bets. Sign up for a DRF Bets account, access a $150 bonus. All you have to do is go to drf.com/join. Promo code is TV. 150. Let's take a look at this field of 3-year-old fillies getting set to go a mile and a 16th. Again, carded as race number 12. Our colleague David Grenning down in South Florida. In his race advance, he notes that the 7 Heaven Has My Nicky, the 8 CS in charge, possibly they will scratch to await future stakes opportunities. Yeah,
it sounds like both of them are going to opt out of this race and point for different races. And, you know, they were both, I think, contenders in this race. And not only that, it takes a little bit of the pace out of this race, too, because they were both horses who it felt like wanted to race forward.
Let's begin with the morning line favorite, and a tepid one at that. The number 3, Take Charge Paula. That's a Keeneland grad. Jose Ortiz rides 4-1. This horse, second in the Devona Dale to the very highly regarded Fly So High. I thought it was a good performance. Fly So High seemed to tower over that field on paper and got it done. But Take Charge Paula has only raced once around 2 turns previously. That was last year. She had a little bit of trouble coming out of the gate. Maybe you could give her the excuse for that, but why is it that I'm a little bit concerned about her ability to stretch out?
Yeah, it's perfectly reasonable to be worried about. You know, the further she goes, I think you want to be a little bit more concerned about it. Not only that, I think it's also fair to question, you know, how much better does it get for her from here? I mean, we've seen her 8 times now. Yeah, I don't know how much more improvement she has in her based on what she's been doing lately, and her form is fine. I thought her Devona Dale was actually a pretty good race. It was a little weird. She was really bearing out into the track early in that race. I don't know what that was all about, and she actually wound up somehow behind Fly So High in that race, then had to try to chase her down. She couldn't do it, but I thought she ran well. You know, I just don't know how much I want to take her as she takes on more distance here and she takes on 2 turns again in a race where, you know, whatever edge she has, it's not a big one.
She finished ahead a couple of these common rivals in the Devona Dale. It was not a fast-paced race. The 13 Alter Moon was getting tested for distance, tested for class for the first time. She was up close to that slow pace while down inside. She paid the price. Now she's mired in a very difficult outside post position with other speed and is hard to trust.
Yeah, I mean, it just, you know, her first 2 career races sort of pointed her out as a horse who had some potential anyway. I didn't think she ran that great in the Devona Dale last time. Now she's just got almost an impossible post in a race, but there's plenty of other speed to her inside.
Cash might be the one to take out of the Devona Dale, considering there wasn't a lot of pace, and off of the impressive debut effort, you really liked it going 7 furlongs on January the 27th. Cash was stretching out a little bit, stuck in a tough pace situation. I think she's got a little bit more to give, and there's going to be more pace this time around.
Yeah, I think she can do better in this race. I personally wanted to see her maybe finish a little better in that race last time. You know, I sort of understand what Castellano was doing. He had her sort of rating on the outside. He elected to move her over behind horses as they hit the turn. She got into a little bit of traffic there. It took her a while to get clear. I wanted to see her run a little bit when she did get clear in the stretch. She didn't do it, but it was only her second start. She's bred to stretch out. She can get a better trip in this race. She's one of the horses. I almost feel like I have to give her another chance in here.
Let's see what the Timeform US pace projector has in store. The red bar indicates that our friends at Timeform US believe that the pace will be fast, and the newly blinkered number 5 Daisy is the horse that Timeform US has on the lead. Daisy was a pace pressing winner of the Grade 3 Tempted last year as a 2-year-old. I thought she ran pretty well that day. Last time out on the Suncoast, she was the beaten favorite, and it looked like she ran in spots. On the far turn, she was outpaced badly, and it looked like she was going to be off the board, but when they straightened away into the stretch, she re-rallied and only was beaten 3/4 of a length. The buyers for her last 2 races, her only 2 races around 2 turns, are light.
Yeah, they're not very good. She's certainly going to have to do better than that to win this race. I could kind of go either way on her. I feel like she's going to be a relatively short price. There's at least one of the favorites in here. That makes me want to lean against her, if only because I can't particularly say that I love any one of her last 3 starts. I know that she's a graded stakes winner. I didn't love the Tempted. I didn't think she ran that well in that race. To me, she only really won because Old Fashioned Style, who was a long shot runner-up, didn't really want to go that far, and I think it worked against her. Her Demoiselle was no good. I didn't think she ran that well on the Suncoast last time. I'm just going to be against this horse at a short price.
Mirab also comes out of the Suncoast and is also newly blinkered for a good trainer. This one in Graham Motion. The Suncoast was her first start around 2 turns on dirt. She was making up a little bit of late great ground. She's bred to improve with experience and distance, and she should get the right pace setup. You see that she is last with that red bar indicating a fast pace. She's 15-1. It isn't the worst 15-1 shot in the world.
Yeah, I suppose if I was going to take a horse out of the Suncoast, it would perhaps be her, although I did feel like there was a legitimate pace going on in that race. There was a big long shot out there on the lead in that race, and I thought going a legitimate pace in that race, that horse brought them down past mid-stretch before she gave it up. This horse couldn't make a real impact late, but she was running on. She's another one, though. This is a really tough post for her around 2 turns in this race. We'll see what kind of trip she can work out, but I would use her at a price.
A horse that breaks from the advantageous inside post is the undefeated number 1, 831. This horse stretching all the way out from a couple of 5.5 furlong races. You got to think that she's going to show her speed from the rail, and I know Timeform US has the 5 out there in front. I think this horse has got to be making the lead.
I agree. This horse, I can't see any other scenario where this horse does anything in this race. She has to use her speed from the rail, and then we'll just see if she can stretch. She's got a little pedigree to handle the added distance, but this feels like a pretty big ask for this horse.
She's owned by Luch as well as the maiden Tell Your Mama. Blinkers coming off for Tell Your Mama. Just a tough spot for any maiden.
Yeah, just a tough spot for this horse. It feels like they're just taking a shot.
Another speed is the 11 Silver Bay. Another stretch out speed. Gate to wire winner against Florida Breds at Gulfstream West, but that race was way back in November, a race where there wasn't a lot of pace and she had all the best of it. So now she's got to come off the layoff, stretch out, and face a faster pace situation. At least you get paid if you're right.
All those things working against her. On the other hand, she ran a couple. She looked good winning her first 2 starts, and she ran a couple of relatively fast races for a 2-year-old. Buyers of 74 and 73. She takes a little step forward here. She's in the mix.
Blonde Bomber, 3rd in the Breeders' Cup Juvenile Fillies in a race where the pace collapsed. She might get a similar situation here. She ran on the Suncoast as well, though, and just didn't do too much. And her 2 races this year in the mold of Daisy, slow.
Yeah, I mean, maybe she gets a good pace setup here, but I'm not going to play it for a total collapse, but it feels like she needs to win.
Let's take a look at our top selections for the Gulfstream Park Oaks. I want to talk about Coach Rocks because I might be falling into a trap here. I think a lot of folks are going to look at Coach Rocks' last race and say that was an intensely inside speed favoring track at Gulfstream against a weak field. Coach Rocks went to the front, controlled an easy pace, and won. I like the way she finished the race off. I think you're going to agree with a more conventional view, though.
Yeah, I mean, I just had so much go right for her in that last race. She did look good. It was a visually appealing win, and she got a figure for it. Those things sort of point her out as a contender in here. I don't know, it just feels like a totally different scenario for her this time. It makes, to me, it made her tough to like.
8-1 on the morning line, I think, is fair considering the fig that she earned in that race. I don't like the hung comments in a couple of her other races, but at least she has shown some experience coming from off the pace. She's not making the lead in this spot. Yes, she was probably aided by the bias last time out, but I did like the way she rolled through the stretch. You're going with a true closer, the 9 Princess Warrior, good enough to finish 2nd in the Alcibiades and only start number 2. And I like the fact that Kenny McPeak started her off on turf.
Yeah, I don't have any problem with the turf race for her, even though she had a little pedigree for it. And I actually felt like she ran fine in that race, very conservatively ridden by Leparoux in that race. And then when she did try to rally through the stretch, it was down towards the inside. She sort of got over behind there. She wasn't winning that race, but I liked the way that she finished up in that race, 2nd off the layoff, turf to dirt. Her race to cap off her 2-year-old season at Churchill was another race. They rode her very conservatively in that race. She finished up pretty well in there. Better set up this time.
Mike's going 9-4-3. I'm going 2-5-3-13 in the Grade 2 Gulfstream Oaks. Again, if you're playing from home, please consider DRF Bets. $150 sign-up bonus. DRF.com/join. Promo code TV150. Approximate post time for the Gulfstream Park Oaks, 5:26 Eastern. Best of luck.